Hey everyone, Mary from SVG Cuts here. I've got some really fun brand new projects for garden lovers and summertime, springtime. I'm the most excited about the rain boot project, and I made a pair of them to go together. I think they look so cute in just about any color, or in a patterned paper would look really cute too, maybe polka dots or something. And I think just like regular rain boots, no matter what kind of color or style you want to go with, it's going to be super duper cute. So you could use it as some decor, you could put something in it as a gift, whatever you want to do, it's going to be super cute. So I also came up with a new hangable flower. I put this one on a stand just to be able to move it around and show you in the video, but it includes a hanger on the back, which you can make out of the same color as the flower. And just like our wallflowers projects, it's nice and sturdy to be hung on the wall or on a gift bag or something. And you could use a repositionable command hook so that you don't even have to do a nail in the wall if you don't want to. So it could be pretty cool in your craft room or wherever, whatever you have in mind. So I also have a smaller version of that cute little flower here on the watering can, which I also am so excited about. This one uses a few more sheets of paper. I want to say it uses about 10 pieces of 12 by 12. If you want to check your PDF menu in your download, you can see exactly how many pieces. But back to the rain boot, the cool thing about the rain boot is that just one of them, this is only 2 pieces of paper, 2 12 by 12 pieces of paper. So you really get a lot out of those 2 pieces of paper. So again, really cute in different colors, would make a really nice little gift container for someone who loves gardening or just somebody who would think it's cute. So we also have this fun little box card. It's kind of a different take on the box card. So it does fold flat. If you want to make it less dimensional, you know, you could do that too. I kind of curved all my petals a little bit, and you could make it in pink or, you know, whatever color you have in mind. Super cute. I just thought it would be nice to have a little milk pail shaped card. So finally we have the Hummingbird Box Card, which I'm really excited about. This is kind of a completely different style of box card, since the bottom is a typical box shape, but the flaps and the inserts obviously make it look like a really pretty flower. So I'm pretty excited about the way that looks, and I can't wait to see how you make yours. So the pattern paper that I used for this kit, I really didn't use very much of it. I only used patterned paper on this bottom of the box card. But in case you're wondering, it is the Spring Market collection by Carta Bella, and it's really pretty, and I wish that I had used more of it, but it is what it is. These projects just seem to lend themselves more to solid paper, solid colored paper. So I've got all my pieces cut out to show you how each project goes together. So let's get started. Next, for the Floral Pail box card, I have all of the flowers and all the leaves, as well as these 2 branch parts, and some panels, and then the actual body of the card. So I'm going to fold it along the score lines. Just like that. And this piece here, like this. So these are going to fit together just like that. but as long as they're flat, we can go ahead and glue this here, just like this, and glue this here, just like that. Then on the back side, you can see those two panels like that. So that's these, and you can glue those right on like this. Next, you can put your flowers and your leaves on your branches. The taller ones, these are a little bit taller. Those are going to go in the back. So you can do it however you'd like. Here's what I did, and it will lay flat. I mean, the more dimensional that you make it, the more it's going to get smushed in an envelope. So it's really up to you what you're planning on doing with it. If you want to, gently put it in your envelope, give it to someone by hand, then you can go with more dimension. If you're going to be, really flattening it out, then you might want to just skip making it so dimensional. And by that, I mean, I kind of took a bone folder and I creased some of the leaves, and then I glued them on just here and there by little dots of glue like this. And then for these flowers, I curved a lot of them. I also did my little take an upside down mouse pad and a stylus trick. Or a right side up mouse pad and a little stylus. If you have something like this, I got it at the craft store. Usually comes in a pack of 3 with 3 different sizes on the ends. And if you want to carefully kind of swirl it around, swizzle it around in there, you can kind of bend each one. It's really up to you how much time you want to take on it and how intricate and detailed you want to make it, so you can do that. That's what I did for my original. And then I also put a little dot of pearl, like pearl puffy paint basically, in the center of each one. And then I just put them on there however I thought looked nice. I just kept adding more and adding more. So you can do that. And then I'm gonna skip that for this video so I can go ahead and move on. But what we're gonna do is glue this inside just like that. So we'll put some glue on here and on here. And glue that right on the top. And as you can see, it's split down the middle so that it can fold. So you can do the same thing with the other one. Same concept, just slightly different shape. Just like that. Next, we can close up our card. Like this. And we can glue these together just like that. And your card will have your flowers and your leaves on it. And if they kind of get stuck together, it's kind of all right. And it stands up just like that. and it folds flat. So as far as your envelope goes, there are score lines in a square. So we can go ahead and fold those all over. I just kind of goofed and creased it a little too hard in the wrong spot on mine here, but I think you get the idea. So the two small flaps are the two sides. The larger one down here is the bottom. We can just put some glue here and here. Fold that bottom up. And then carefully insert your card. Since mine's dimensional, I'm not going to put it in the envelope because I still have to take pictures of it actually right now. And then you can carefully insert your card, close it up, and affix it however you want. For the Hummingbird Box Card, I've got the envelope here, the parts of the hummingbird body, these panels, more parts of the hummingbird, its wings. This leaf is going on the back. More hummingbird. This label is going on the back. Hummingbird. And then I've got these pieces here, and the sides of the box card are down here, and the inserts, these are the inserts, which I designated with a little circle. So if you look closely, you can see that they are numbered, and so are these pieces. So this has a 3, a 4, a 1, and a 2. So these form the box of the box card. So I'm going ahead and folding everything like this. So we've got 1, 2, and then 3, and then this piece, which is 4, which could be here. So that's the order that you want them to be in. And this does not get folded. It's the back side. So if this is the back, then this is the front here. And we can glue our panels on at this point. If you want, it's a nice touch if you've got any ink pads hanging around. I think it looks really pretty when you rub some ink around a shape, especially when it's a pattern like this. It kind of creates a vignette effect and looks nice. So we can glue these on like this. And then I'm going to glue on this tab here on number 1 and glue number 2 right onto it. And then put glue on its tab. and glue the other one onto the end here. I'm going to go ahead and glue the back piece on also, and you can do it however you'd like. I think it looks nice to curve these a little bit, which if you want you can also do with some of your petals, or you can leave them flat. Obviously if you're putting it in an envelope it's going to get kind of flattened out, but it is up to you. So I'm going to just put a couple little dots of glue, or a little line, just like this, and stamp something. Let's say, Let Love Bloom. This is the Spring Market stamp set from Cartabella, which is what this pattern paper is from too. And then I will close it up. So again, you can leave this flat if you want. On my original one, I curved the petals a little bit. It might be easier to do that right now. You want to add a little something, something. You curve them towards you or away from you, whatever you're feeling. Next, I'm going to take this insert number 1 and fold it like this. Set that there. And insert number 2, we can fold the tabs back as well. And then assemble our hummingbird. So if you want to add some extra pizzazz, here's what I did on mine. I heavily inked the bottom with some green, and then I put some lime green on the top of this piece, this guy here. If you want to do that, I also added some glitter, and then on this piece I inked it with some darker red to bring it out a little bit. I also put some blue ink on this piece down there to look like a shadow. So if you want to get creative like that, you can. Just for the sake of time, I'm just going to put it together plain, which will be nice too. So this just goes right here, and this goes right onto the body. Like this. Maybe I will just throw a little blue on the bottom. Then this piece just goes right along this wing here, like so. And this guy gets folded over like this. And it's gonna go just like that, but first we want to glue this wing down. And glue this guy on. If you want to add some kind of little sparkly bling or a pearl or something, I put one right here on my flower. That would go right there if you want. And then I'll glue, oops, like this. So maybe just a few dots of glue. Like so. And then number 3, and these just stand up straight. You can curve them too if you're doing that. Maybe bend them back a little bit. So now I'm going to put this inside my card. And I want the back of those tabs flush with the back of the box on both sides. And it's looking pretty cool already. Then you can carefully make sure that it's going to lay flat. And this box card takes a little extra TLC when you're folding it flat. Then we'll do the same with this. And the back of those tabs are flush with the part in front of it there. On both sides. So everything is nice and perpendicular. And again, carefully make sure it's going to fold flat in both directions. You may have to bend some of the flaps out of the way as you check on that. And then same thing with piece insert number 1. So there we go. That's looking really pretty. Now, to make your envelope, there's a score line going around. And you can fold all of these over. These two are the sides. And then the top and bottom are really kind of interchangeable, but the smaller one is meant to be the bottom. So you can put some glue here and here, maybe along the edge. Just like this, and make sure that you're not gluing it closed. Then you can insert your card, close it up, and affix it. So when you're closing your card, just be gentle and careful. Bend these down like this. You can leave the rest up. So then you'll just very carefully guide that into place, like so. For the poppy project, I've got the two main pieces here. They look similar, except this one is its petals cut here, and this one has them cut on two parts. Then I've got the hanger here, which you can cut out of the same color as your flower, or a similar color is close enough, I think. Then the center parts, I also have here, this and this. So, on my original flower, I took a small ink pad that was a little bit darker than my paper, and I just carefully kind of rubbed it coming out of the center. I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I have no idea if this is gonna be cool or not, but I'm gonna try something different, and I'm gonna use some stamps from this Cardabella Spring Market stamp set that I have. And I'm using this one here and this one here, and I'm gonna stamp a design kind of coming out of the center. Hopefully there's enough ink left on this dark pad so it shows up. So I'm gonna ink that up. I might be running out of ink here. So this one that has the one slit per petal is the one that's going on the top. And I'm gonna ink it up and just randomly do this. I'm not gonna make it even or scientific or equal on all of them. But I think it's gonna give a similar effect, but you know, be a little different. Hashtag creativity going on over here. Could be kind of cool. So there's that. And I'm gonna take this dark one. This one's black cherry. So really anything that's darker than your paper, anything that's gonna show up is gonna be cool. Oops. This ink pad's getting a little dry. Let's see. I don't think I've used this one very much. Oh. This one's a bit darker, so I'm gonna do that closer to the center, like this. It's not really showing up so hot. And then I'm gonna carefully do some darkness coming out of the center on the top one. Maybe with some streaks coming out. Also, and that is pretty darn cool. I think I'm a fan of this idea. And this one will be pretty much covered up, so I'm just gonna do some streaks that are getting closer to the outside. And you could definitely just make this without any inking. That would also look awesome. Not necessary, but pretty fun. So you might want to let that dry a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to glue together something that's been inked, but I'm just going to go for it anyway. So what I'm going to do is fold this so that it's pretty much just half. It's just pointing towards the center here. So a little ink like so. You could certainly be a little more precise with your ink, or your glue, I mean, if you would like to be. So there's that. And now I'm just gonna glue these over just like that. It's overlapping about 1/4 of an inch over. So I'll just put a dot on each side. And hold that as it dries for a little bit. So if you want to make your flower look a little bit different, you could make the back flatter by barely overlapping it, or you could put this one in the center instead, and you can really glue it coming straight at you like this if you want. Totally up to you. I'm just showing you how I originally did mine. So I'm just showing you how I originally did mine, but if you wanted to do yours a little bit differently, you certainly could. So this back one is slightly flatter than this front one. And I'm going to glue one right inside the other with them offset a little bit. Nice and centered. Next we can take these two, and one of them has a slightly smaller center than the other one. And I'm going to bend all of these forward. If you wanted to curve them, you could do that. You could take a pencil or a bone folder, and you could give them a curve and then fold them in. That's a pretty cool effect. I'm gonna just kind of quickly do that a little bit. Or you can just bend them in, keep them straight. Totally up to you. This might be more of a wow factor if you curve them a little bit without ripping them off, of course. I'll do the same thing with this guy. Maybe more just, I'm just gonna curve the end more this time. And again, you can totally do it however you wanna do it. Whatever colors you wanna do. And you can, of course, take your time a little bit more if you would like as well. So I'm going to go ahead and glue one on top of the other, the smaller center on top of the larger. Nice and centered. I'm going to glue that on top of this large piece here. Right in the middle. And then this guy in the center. And then glue this in the center. So we have this centerpiece here, and I'm going to bend these bottom teeth over. And you can leave these as they are, or if you want, you can gently curve them. I have this little stylus that I've had in my stash of tools, craft tools, that I got at the craft store. If you have something like that, you can do that with it. And then if you look carefully, there are two little lines cut out, and I'm going to use them as a guideline to curve this around and glue that down. Oops. I'm going to bend these a little out of the way here. And then on top of some scrap paper, we're going to glue our little circle down in place on the bottom here. So I've just glued that right inside. Now if you got some kind of little sparkly bling thing, that would look awesome in the middle. I have some ancient little sticky gemstones in my stash. I'll just carefully get that down there in the middle. And then bend my top parts back over. So I'm going to just glue that right down in the center. But first, it might be a little easier to go ahead and do this next. I've got my hanger here. It's just 4 identical pieces, which I'm going to glue together, one on top of the other, to form a nice strong piece. And then if you have a orientation that you would like this to be, you can decide where the top is. I think I'm going to make it like this. So I will just glue this onto the back so that the hole is poking up free right there. Might need a little extra glue. If you want to hot glue it, you could do that. Keeping it in place. You can press down and hold that for a little while. glue your center right on the center. For the rain boot, I'm making the rain boot project, which is the right boot. If you want to make a pair, the left boot is in its own separate folder, and it is identical, it's just a mirror image. And some of those pieces for the other boot have little circles cut out of them so that you can identify them if you are cutting them all out at once. Right now I just have the right boot, which is the main default boot. So I have some little pieces that are gonna make up the buckle. I've got some little trim pieces that are just flat, which will go on at the very end. Then I've got the large part of the boot here, which we'll save for later. And then I've got some more pieces here that look like this, and this one, this little flat one, this one, and this one here. I've also got some additional pieces over here, the heel and the sole, which has these two also. So we'll put these to the side for a minute, and first we're gonna put together the toe. This is the toe here. So what I'm gonna do first is crease over each of these little tabs on this piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and prep some of these pieces, and we don't want to fold over the side tab on most of these pieces. We do not want to fold over the side tabs. It's not the end of the world if you do, but we're just going to start by creasing over these tabs like I'm doing. These are flat. This has some guidelines on it, but we're not going to fold it. So we'll just start like that, and first I'm going to take these two pieces and I'm going to glue this one inside this one. So I'm going to anchor the center first. Oops. By just gluing this right here. And then the other tabs. So I'm just carefully gluing them together into place one at a time. on the other side. Just like that. Next, we're going to take this piece, and we want it to be arched up in the middle here, and I'm going to be gluing it onto this piece like this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to anchor the two sides of it just like this. And then from the inside, go ahead and glue the rest of those tabs all down. If it's easier for you, I think it's nice to just put some little dots of glue. Seems to be just the right amount so that it gets out to the edge without coming out too much. And if it does, you can wipe it away. So I'm just lining it up very carefully as best I can there. And working my way in. I might do 2 at a time. It's kind of hard to see on camera there, but I'm just doing the same thing, working my way down all of those. And here's the final center tab. So there's the toe of our boot, super cute. Next I'm going to take this piece here, which is kind of, it echoes the front part of the sole here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue it inside here. So as you can see, it's kind of a similar shape. That's going to get glued right into the bottom. So again, I'm going to anchor the outer tabs first. So I'm just lining that up corner to corner right there. we'll do the same thing on the other side. And then we can glue all of these tabs down with a few dots of glue on each one. And you can press from the inside as you kind of gently roll it, because it is a curved surface. So we've got the toe of our boot started, and as you can see on my finished one, that's this piece here. Next we're going to make this piece and connect the two of them together. So to do that, we can take this middle piece, which has a longer bottom, wider bottom, curved top, and then these two pieces like this. So you want to make sure that this curved part is up on the top and the skinnier part is down at the bottom. And I'm going to glue these on. Just like so. Just carefully lining it up with the edge of the one piece along the fold of the other. Working my way up to the top. And the same with the other side. So this is going to fit right onto the front here. But first I'm going to put these two sides on, and they're going to go like this. So as you can see, it's curving up away from me here, and then these two are like this with these tabs in the back, more of the teeth on the side, and just the two on the end there. So again, same concept, just put some glue on the tabs, and we'll just carefully, one at a time, line it up nicely and glue those together. Next, we're going to glue these together using these tabs. So if you look closely on yours, you can see a guideline here that you can use to line that up nicely. Same here, there's a guideline. There's 3 guidelines and another one and another one. So those are all going to line up just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and put a nice small amount of glue underneath those guidelines. And I think the center is the most important, so I'm going to line that up first and make sure that's nice. And anchored, and then the next one is nicely lined up. And the side. And this side as well. Oops. And right there. So those kind of just fall right into place without even worrying too much about the guidelines, which is nice and easy. Next, I'm going to insert this piece here, just like this. So I'm going to bend these out of the way. And line that up right there. As well as the opposite side. Just like that. And glue down the other two tabs. Just like this. Next, I'm going to grab my piece that looks like this, and I'm going to prep it by folding each of these over. As well as this, and this, and this. And then I can put some glue on the side here and bend that around. This I'm going to bend backwards out of the way. And I'm going to put a ring of glue in a U shape, just like this, and then on top of some scrap paper, I'll just lay that down right inside of itself. Next, I can take this little piece and just glue that right onto the bottom of the heel. Next, I'm going to take the piece that looks like this and prep it by folding over all of these tabs. And then I'm going to attach it to my heel by anchoring it here with this tab and also over here with this tab here with those corners lining up. So I'll anchor it and then I will glue the rest of these from the inside. So we'll put some glue here and get that into place. And the other side. And then this fits snugly together and you can glue the rest of those from the inside. Maybe like 2 or 3 at a time should do the trick. Next, I'm going to put these two together, and I want it to fit together like this. So this tab is going underneath, this tab staying on the top, and these two are staying up on the top. And then there's a guideline right here that you can see if you look closely on yours, as well as over here. So we're going to use that little line to line this up right here and to line this up over here, and then we'll glue these down. So I'm going to put glue underneath where that line is and line this up just like that. And then I'll put glue underneath the guideline on the other side. And as you can see, these are out, this is out, the other one's underneath it. And I'm lining it up using that little line. It's kind of like a cute little garden clog at this point. So next I'll glue down these two, making it a nice snug fit. And this guy. Also making it nice and lined up and snug. Then I can flip it over, put some glue here on this tab, and fold it over also. Next, I'm going to glue the sole onto this piece, which is right here, and it fits very nicely. And the only tip that I have is to get your glue pretty close to the edge of the bottom here, because when you press down, we want it to spread out and just kind of get right up to the edge without coming out the sides if possible. If it does come out the sides, you can always wipe it off, but this is kind of a good amount of glue here. And since it's an S curve, it'll take a little bit of extra TLC to get it right into place. So I'm starting at the bottom and making it nice and snug as I move down towards the toe. And worst case scenario, if you feel like your edge is a little too rough in some way, you could always get a little block of, or a little piece of sandpaper or a sanding block. Maybe you have one that's for crafting, or just a regular one is fine too. Sometimes that's a nice finishing touch. If you have an edge that you think could be a little bit smoother, you just carefully sand it a little bit. Sometimes it can kind of change the color of your paper a little bit, might make it a little bit lighter. So you want to be careful, maybe do a test first if you're going to do that. But hopefully hopefully you're happy with the edge. I'm happy with the edge of mine, but of course that could be a little tricky. Next, I'm going to take this piece, and if you look closely at yours, you can see a little curved line at the end of both sides, and I'm going to use that as a guideline to slide this underneath, and I'm going to glue it in place and anchor it here. So this little corner is lining up with this little corner, and this corner down here is lining up there, and that little line should help too. So go ahead and glue that in place right there, as well as on the other side. So next I'm just going to glue these inside tabs down from the inside with just a few dots of glue. And lining up the edge with the fold and working my way around, jumping from one side to the other. I might do 2 at a time or 3 at a time. Like so. Next, I'm going to glue this piece into place, and I'm going to pre-curve this middle part a little bit. If you have a pencil, pen, bone folder handy, it's a good idea. You could leave it flat, but it's just going to be a little happier if you can curve it a little bit carefully. And this is going to go on the inside. If you take a look at yours, you can see a very tiny little guideline here, right here, which is where I put the glue below. And I'll use that line to line it up. And this is going to go on the inside. Just like this. So you can see that those two tabs are going to go right there. So we'll anchor those and then we'll glue the rest from the inside, which is a little bit trickier than it was before, but it's doable if you bend them up, which we'll do in just a minute. So if you want to get some glue on some of these back ones, you can do that. As long as it's lining up around the sides. And then glue down the remaining tabs by bending them back and putting a dot of glue on each one from the inside and pressing them down. Next, I'm going to take this big flat piece, and if you look carefully on yours, you can see that there are some little guidelines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you hold it and adjust it in the light, you can see it on yours, and that is where you want to line up the other side. So when you carefully line it up, it's going to fit together just like that. So I'm going to put some glue like this, and then a line of glue along the edge here, and then carefully line it up using those guidelines. And once it's taken hold just enough, you can lay it down and press down on the glue from the inside so that it dries nice and spread out and flat and all that good stuff. Next, I'm going to put on my trim up here at the top. And if you take a look, you can see that it curves upwards here. So if it's curving down, then you have it upside down. You want it to be curving up a little bit, and put some glue on that. And line the seam up with the seam on the back, and guide that around on the top. Next, you can take this long rectangle and put some glue on the back of it, and glue that right here along the back side. Next, to put this together, you just want to carefully feed this inside. You can kind of wiggle it into place, and you want the back seam to be lined up, the top and the back. And then we can glue this guy in place right on the front. Oops. Like this. So we want this to line up right down here, So I'm just gonna put 2 little lines of glue there and hold that in place for a little bit. And then we'll glue the other side right in the same spot there, lining up in that little corner right there. And if you would like to gently flatten it out ever so slightly, then all that's left to do is put this together. So we'll go like this. And we're just matching it up here with this guy. So this goes through here. And like this. And I'm going to open my brad up top to bottom so that it's not preventing it from curving a little bit. And then you just want to affix it right here. So you could use glue if you want, or if you have some sticky dots, I think that's perfect. I put 1, 2, and then 1 under here when I put mine on, just right in the middle there, about a 1/4 inch or so from the band. For the watering can project, I've got some trim pieces that are going to go on at the end here, and the 2 handles, and then the bottom is made up of 2 circles that are the same. I actually cut mine out of lighter paper because I ran out of this color, which I think is going to be fine, but yours might all be the same color. Then we've got the spout support, and then 2 half circles for the top, as well as the pieces that make up the spout, the end of the spout. So there's 2 like this. Okay, Winnie, thank you, thanks. And I've got this, I bent all these over, and the end does not get bent over. Then we've got this piece here, which is bent like this. This does not get bent. Same with this. And there's a long strip that looks like this. And, okay. Then we've got 4 pieces that make up the can itself that look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and put together the end of the spout first. So to do that, first I'm going to join this together. It has 3 little guidelines. If you look closely on yours in the right light, you can see where that is. And so I'm going to put glue just underneath it and use those little guidelines to line it up just right. And I'll do the same with this piece. As well as this piece. And this piece too. These tabs we can go ahead and bend backwards also. So next I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to line up these the seams here, and I'm going to glue one inside the other. So I'm anchoring one tab here. And then I'm going to work my way around, gluing each tab down, lining it up really nicely with the edge lined up with the folds, nice and carefully. Next, I'm going to glue these two together. Same thing, I'm going to line up the seam here and just glue one tab at a time. Carefully lining up the edge with the fold. I have these two glued down and I'm bending back the next two pretty sharply so that I can get a couple dots of glue on there from the inside. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a few dots of glue on the other tabs. And then kind of somewhat quickly but carefully guide them all into place and glue them all down. Next, I'm going to glue this inside this piece here. And again, I'm going to line up the seams and guide that in and push it open kind of like a big brad. So I'm going to go ahead and bend these out of the way a little bit, make it easier. And then put some glue on all of these. And if some of them are not taking hold as well, you can always add some more glue and glue them down. Next I'm going to put this in place, and as you can see, this one has slightly larger holes than this one. This one's going to go on the outside, this one's going to go on the inside. So again, I'm going to bend these out of my way. Except for one. And put 1, 2, 3 dots of glue. And glue that so that the hole is centered and it's lined up. Then I will put some more glue on these guys. And guide them into place a little bit. Then we can cover this with some glue around the edge. And a few inside. And carefully position this so that the holes line up. So this is like a cap that goes on the end of your spout, and it looks like all one piece, but it's really just a cap that slides on. Next I'm going to put together the body of my can. So I'm going to gently curve the pieces a little bit to get them going in the right direction, kinda. Just a little bit. And I'm going to glue them. I'm going to glue these two together just like this. And I'm only going to put a line of glue around like this. And I'm also going to glue these together just like this. I'm going to make the bottom a little more obvious by bending those over. And I'm going to glue it down just like that. Next, I'm going to glue this piece to this piece, and I just wanted to make the bottom a little more clear there, and line it up just like this. Next I'm going to put my spout together. So I'll bend all of these. And I'm going to bend them all backwards. So what we want to do here is glue this around, and if you look very closely you can see a guideline on your piece. So that's where we want to line up the other side. So it's going to be glued together right along that guideline, just like this. If you want, you can take a pen, pencil, bone folder, and kind of try to curve that paper a little bit ahead of time. So you want to put glue underneath that line. And curve that around, lining it up as perfectly as possible. And you can turn it over and push down to make it nice and glued down while it's still drying. Next we can feed this through this hole here with the bottom seam lining up with the bottom seam below it. And first I'm going to anchor these two bottom tabs. And then I'll put a couple dots of glue on each tab. And the next step we'll want to do on some scrap paper, because you might get glue on your table. So you can press down on top of those to glue them into place. Next I'm going to close up the watering can here. I should have been a lot more careful with my glue. It's honestly kind of tough to do this with a phone under my face. So yours, I'm sure, will be a lot more precise. I'm going to go ahead and bend these bottom tabs over. so. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my bottom in place right now. You've got 2 circles, they're both the same. So what I'm gonna do is cover the outside with a ring of glue here, maybe 2. And then on top of some scrap paper or whatever work surface you've got going on, I'm gonna carefully feed that inside the bottom and press down on those tabs from the inside. So now we can go ahead and put the other circle on the bottom. So get your glue pretty close to the edge. And glue that right on the bottom. Next, I'm going to put my little spout support together. So I'll fold these little baby teeth over. And this end is going to be hidden inside the spout down here. And then these guys are going to open up on the inside like a brad. So we'll bend them backwards. And if you have a pen, marker, pencil, it's a good idea to kind of train this into a cylinder shape by wrapping it tightly around something like a pencil or whatever. And then this piece also has some little guidelines, and just to be sure that I'm seeing them, you can see them in the right light. That's where the little where the little guidelines are. So I'm going to put glue just underneath them. And glue those together. Then if you want to insert your pencil so that you have something to press down on, that's perfect. Then we can fold these little teeth down. And again, no one's going to see this end, so don't stress out about that part of it. And then with the bottom seam facing the bottom, I'm going to make sure those are glued down there. Then you can feed that inside, and then get those little tabs inside that hole. And then glue them down like a brad, like you're opening a brad, basically. So it's kind of tricky to see in there, but I'm just gluing them down. Mine's a little messy. Next, I'm going to take one of my half circles. There's 2 of them. They're identical. And I'm going to glue one on the inside and then one right on the outside. So I'm going to anchor the two ends first, just like this. And then glue the rest of these down and glue this on top. Now we can put our little cap on. Might as well have the seam at the bottom, like so. Looking cute. Next I've got these two long pieces here, and your machine will have made a little guideline, which I darkened in with a pencil just for this video so that it's easier to see. So I'm going to glue one to the other. And then glue the other end closed. And just slide that right onto your project. Next, for the 4 short strips like this, once again I darkened in those little guidelines on mine with a pencil just so you can see them in this video, because that's what we want to use to line up gluing one to the other. And if you want to curve it a little bit as it's drying, that's perfect. And then I'm going to wrap this around my project. And close it up. And then that slides down and sits. If you want to line up the seams, that makes it look a little more clean, I think. Next, I'm going to take these 2 long pieces, and the smaller one goes right on top of the other one. And I'm not even going to glue them together because I think they have a better curve when they're not glued together. So I'm going to take one of my brads, and open that up inside there, curve it around, same thing. Then I've got these 2 strips left. The one with the So I bent over, this one has a score line on it, it's like this. The other one only has 2 holes on the one side. So this one, I'm going to attach up here as well as both of these down below, just like this. And then I will put a bit of glue at the top here, as well as a little bit down here. And I'll just carefully center that. And glue that down just like this. There we go. So that's it. Lots of really fun projects for summer and beyond. I hope you have a great time making them. If you do, I'd love to see a picture on our Facebook wall or on your blog, pin it on Pinterest or on Instagram. However you like to share, I always love to see, and so do the rest of our crafty friends. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, and happy crafting.